Okay, so this is English 242, and so really this week the biggest thing is getting familiarized with the terrain, doing your discussion board, all of that stuff. You don't really have a lot of reading to do for the class. Now next week, for week 2, you'll have 2 larger plays that are due, one before the time period that we started. There we are. So one before our 1865 time period, and then one in 1890. And that's just basically so we can kind of compare and contrast the changes that are occurring over time, basically pre-Civil War to post-Civil War. And so 1865 is kind of an arbitrary cutoff date. It's not as if everybody who is writing was like, well, that's the end of the Civil War, let's go ahead and write differently. But you can see the changes beginning to occur during the Civil War and then in the decades afterwards. So next week you should have read The Octoroon and Margaret Fleming. And those are both PDF documents. You'll find those in course documents. When you take a look at the schedule, you will see something called supplementary readings. Those are also always under course documents, or alternatively, they will be under course documents if you don't see them now. And those are things that are there to help sort of round out your understanding of the time period. They're more historical documents, historical artifacts. So, for instance, I need to scan it in, but Langston Hughes, I'll put in a little bit of his autobiography. There's speeches by Eugene V. Debs. There's an anti-war essay by Randolph Bourne, that sort of stuff. And so that's for people to sort of locate things in American history. And like it or not, history and literature will be tied together. I know there's some theorists that say otherwise, but that's the way we're going to be taking that perspective for the class. So every week you'll be doing a discussion board. You should have 1 webcam post and 2 discussion board posts. And really what you need to do, first of all, is just open up that syllabus and read all the stuff in it. And that will essentially give you the baseline for what you're going to be doing the entire semester. So discussion board post this week, kind of top of the order, starting to read those plays so they're ready to go by next week. And that's kind of the big thing that you have to look forward to. And of course that whole syllabus thing, making sure you understand that and the schedule. In the next week or so, you'll notice on the syllabus I have you doing presentations where you're sort of the discussion leader for that week in the discussion board. And so those presentations we'll be signing up for. I'll be putting a link probably early next week and making that available. One other note, and the link, by the way, will be in Google Documents, sorry. And I'll put that on the announcements page. So one other note, by the way, too, the webcam announcements. I'll try to post a webcam announcement every week. And it's kind of fascinating because, especially over this summer, I had a heck of a problem with saying things on the webcam announcements and then receiving multiple questions later that if the person or people had listened to the webcam announcements, they would have gotten the answer to their questions. And so I usually am kind of divorced on that, where I have one half of the class that says, well, we've got to do webcam assignments, and so I end up having to do webcam announcements. And I have the other side of the class like, just give it to me, man. I don't want to listen to you talk for 2 minutes, which, well, is now 3 because it's a longer one. But I kind of bounce back and forth, so just basically some weeks I won't be able to do webcam assignments for a variety of reasons. Kids are sick, dogs are barking in the background, that sort of thing. But I'll try to do webcam announcements every week, so long as you promise to listen to them, and I will try to keep them shorter and do it that way. I usually try to keep them under 4 or 5 minutes. I know I'm running long. This is the first week, so I have a lot to say. But for the most part, I try to give you as much information as possible, things to look out for, hints and tips, all of that stuff. But if you avoid the webcam announcements, and then you send me an email asking me something that I answered in the webcam, the email that you're going to get back will be, did you watch the announcement? And so just watch the announcements, okay? 5 minutes of your life listening to me will not be the end of you. It hasn't killed anybody yet. It's probably made them sick, but it hasn't killed anybody yet. So just go ahead and keep working like that. Again, this first week is just introductory material, sort of getting the feel for Blackboard, reading the syllabus, understanding that, figuring out who you want to present on, reading the assignments that you're going to be doing in the scope of the class. So the presentations, the midterm, the final, understanding all that, understanding the policies, all of that jazz. And then when we get together in week 2, we'll go ahead and start talking about American literature proper. So keep an eye out for other announcements. Of course, I'll try to post them on Mondays. Your discussion board post, I've explained all of that in the syllabus, so make sure you read that as well. But otherwise, I will try to provide updates as I see fit. Thanks a lot.